Hello and welcome to Flory Models Weekly Roundup. Here we are on Friday the 17th of February 2017 and a very busy week after a fantastic start up at Huddersfield. So here we are travelling up north. We are literally, what, 20 miles south of Doncaster, driving through a blizzard. So yeah, there we go.
Hey guys! Hi guys!
Go up north, they say. Have a lovely weekend, they say. The weather's lovely. Yeah. We passed the border and look at it. This is really heavy now.
It's really snowing.
Proper.
Wow!
Step on the land, I've got your hand, and now we're way down, fade out low. Was it your plan? Can't understand. I love the air you bring, everything. I'm in the sun, a fire is burning. You tell me to hold on tight. I wish that we could stay here forever. I wanna remember. Oh, the sight of you brings the fight in me, makes me wanna move. Fingers down your spine, looking in my eyes, feel your hands on mine. Tonight we're freer than ever. I wanna remember. Oh, we run every endeavor. I wanna remember. Step on the land, I've got your hand, and now we're way down, fade out, no. Was it your plan? Can't understand. I love the air you bring, everything. I'm in the sun, a fire is burning. You tell me to hold on tight. I wish that we could stay here forever. I wanna remember. Oh, the sight of you brings the fight in me, makes me wanna move. Fingers down your spine, looking in my eyes, feel your hands on mine. Tonight we're freer than ever. I wanna remember. Oh, we run every endeavor. I wanna
So there you go, fantastic show. I must admit, it was great to be out there, obviously just to meet Steve and the guys from the Northern Fob and to hang out with them for sort of 4 days up there. That was absolutely brilliant, amazing guys, amazing company. But then being at the show as well, it's really nice from our point of view because we didn't have a stand. So that way I could just look around and talk to people at their own stands and do all the different things that we normally never get a chance to do when we have our own stand because you're trying to sell things and answer questions and demo and all of those. So it was really nice to see. It was great to see it in the new venue as well. I haven't been up there for 2 years. I saw it when I was at the old one. It's a bit dark and dingy in the old one, a bit old school hall. This one, bright, light and airy, and it made displaying the models so much better. And again, you know, seeing those photos there, the level of the work that are at the shows is one of those things you're sort of awe-inspiring walking around. And even for me, you know, I do this as a living. I see stuff and it inspires me because I think, That's a nice touch. I like what they've done with that one. Or it might be something that's a little bit quirky, something a little bit different. I love that type of thing as well. But it was great just to speak to you and chat and just generally be relaxed as we went through. So then obviously we drove all the way home, big old trip home. And then on Monday, I just finished off a little bit of editing during the afternoons while it went up a little bit late. And we've got this thing all together. So we basically spoke about this one. What do we do? CA glue with talc, old school. Showed about it, used it, worked great as ever. It's funny how you have all this brand new stuff and then you go back to using something like, you know, crazy glue, super glue, CA glue with a little bit of talcum powder in there just to soften it a bit. Use it like concrete, sand, easy, job done, no problem at all. And yet we've got all these fancy putties, but there we go. Then we did seam checking and then we did re-riveting on this one and obviously, you know, rescribing all the bits and pieces you can imagine onto it. And then we went on there basically and got this thing set onto a jig and we made sort of a homemade jig with it so it could sit here on that and get the wings in. Again, we spoke about this is very old school. It's got tiny little slots. Yeah, there's no actual wing spars to hold these big meaty wings up on this aircraft. It is literally tiny little wing tabs. So to try and get the alignment, so we just made a homemade jig out using sanding sponges and sticks and things like that, just to get it all in there, get it all squared off, make sure the tail's square, the front and the wings are all okay. And generally it worked really, really well. And she is literally come together. You know, it is a big lump, but it is impressive, isn't it? So to be honest, this morning I've just glued all the engines together so we can get the nacelles sorted onto this one next week. But as I said, next week, fully be into this big time, going to be into paint, pushing through with it very, very heavily as we make our way through. Tuesday, we did tool time. Absolutely fantastic. Lovely feedback from everyone. It's great to see. And literally, we were just going through the thing of what you see here. So we were talking about the paint rack. We're talking about the different paints that I have up here. Some of the reasons I use them, why I like to use them, and in what different scenarios. And then we went round all the tools, which I know you think I've got a load of tools behind me in the cabinet, but it's amazing how many I've got down the back here. So we spoke about all the different ones I've got there. And again, different uses, the glues, the different types of glues, the fillers that I have, and all the things just like that. So from that point of view, it's quite nice to show you all round here. But one of the things that did come up, somebody asked me about what is this? This is a clamp. It's on a G clamp, which is really handy because it makes it stable. But this is one of these swivel type. It's on a ball neck. So if we can get it slacked off, there we go. Who asked me? Who asked me that one? Who asked it? Somebody asked me. Stickhouse on Facebook asked me about this one. But this is it, so you can put it onto its side and all the different angles. But the great thing is, obviously, it's nice and secure on there. It's not going to go anywhere at all. And when this is up, you can put it into any angles you like and everything. And then you can just screw it all in and you're good to go. Very simple, very easy. Had it years now, and it's just one of those things. I do everything from chopping wood to metal to holding things. I put planes into it upright. Handy one because you can sort of maneuver it around as well, so it doesn't always have to be here. But on a G-clamp, it's really nice because it's a very strong G-clamp system that bolts to my desk, and that way you can just put it in any position you want and it holds it nicely in place. A couple of questions that came up about it. Alex was saying about the homemade made styrene filler. That he's tried it and he loves it and all the rest of it. Again, it is that thing, I can't, you know, reiterate enough. Don't use sprue. Sprue notoriously is soft. You get different manufacturers of sprue, they're all different. Use white styrene sheet. So use your old offcuts and stuff like that. I used to have, I still do. You know, down here, this one's got paint over it, but I tend to use it new. Use your offcuts, chop them up, put it into some extra thin. I haven't tried it with Plastic Magic yet. I've got no reason why I won't think it'll work, and you'll have it nice because it will dry rock hard. If you use styrene, you know, on sprue wise, it tends to be softer. It's got things added to it like colours and stuff like that. Doesn't work quite as well. It's just always going to be a little bit soft. You get more shrinkage when you're using this, and it can take longer to dry. But if you're using it with styrene sheet, you should have no problem with it. Again, we've done a full video on it. Go off and have a look. It is free to watch as well on the YouTube channel. William was saying you can get the colours. We were talking about the Tamiya bottles, like 10mm, and I was saying I remember back in the day in the 90s you could get 23mm bottles, but they seem to have stopped doing those. He was saying you still can get them in various colours, which is a nice thing. Because I say, I used to buy all the big ones, you know, that's why I had the range, and then they sort of dropped them, or certainly here in the UK you couldn't get them, so they went down to 10mm. Because I remember buying loads of the 23mm from my local shop, who was flogging them off cheap purely so to make room for the new ones coming in. Ray would say it's nice to see other people's workbenches. Obviously talking about mine, that's great. Used to have a great series on the Flory Models news show when we used to do the weekly show. We used to take you around other people's workbenches and they used to video it themselves. So I don't know, maybe we could bring that back if we get enough interest into it. Ian was saying airbrushing is a bit of a no-no because obviously he's done it off the kitchen table and with the space and things like that. It can be, but I know other guys, you know, you can buy one of the small little extractors, have it hanging out the window. They fold up to nothing and you can just then, you know, move them out as well. So it's not a total no-no, it's just the time it takes to sort of fold everything up and move out. And we're all guilty of it. If you've only got an hour or two spare time to do some modelling, the last thing you want to do is spend half of that setting it up and then the other half to putting it all away. So you've got no time for actually doing the painting and all the rest of it. But you were saying you do a lot of hand painting and stuff like that, which is, you know, it's just one of those things. You also asked where I got this from. I'm looking for the other half. I don't know what I've done with it. I've obviously manoeuvred it somewhere. I've used it for something. This is a two-part item. We gave one away not so long ago. It's actually made by Guns and it is their bottle opener, and as I said, it's a two-fold system. We spoke about it on the Tuesday tool time. Normally you have a rubber bit. Well, there it is. I found it. This is how it comes. So you actually have a rubber section and this. And basically what it does, it stops you tearing up your hands trying to get it open for those dry tops. So what you've got is a rubber bit. So the rubber holds onto it. One of these ends fits better than the other. So that end, it goes on there, and then that way, like that one's really stiff. You're not breaking yourself trying to get it off and everything else like that. But also it doubles up because if you use the T-shaped paint tops, which I didn't show you at the time because it was slightly out of range. But if you've got it like this, you can actually put the lid in like that. So that way you can just brush off the lid if you want to, because obviously the trouble with these is when it's just the lid, they fall over. So you can actually stand it in there. But again, it's really designed for if you're having trouble getting the lid off, you've got the T1 underneath in the middle and that goes on, so you can just take the lid off. You can have it like that, and then there we go, I'll show you. You can just put it in and you're good to go, and you can paint off of it, because otherwise you're down, it's just going to roll over and ruin your paint. Okay, so that is the reason for that one. But most people do them, as I say, anywhere that does the Guns paints, have a look on eBay and all the rest of it. They just call it, I think it's called a jar opener or a pot opener or something else. But it is Mr. Hobby, you know, colour. Well, not colour, just Mr. Hobby range. Again, it's one of these tools I've had now for over 10 years. Oh, great. The amount of times I used to use blue tack. And you get a bit of blue tack and wrap it round, or a rubber glove trying to get them off. And then you have that, and it's, oh, different world. Absolutely different world. And that is it. So there we go. Oh, Steve says, what do you think of the true metals? I think I have got some. Or did I move them? No, I've actually moved them now. The true metals, these are the, I don't remember even what I've done with them. They're around, but these are the tubes, and it's basically a wax-based metallic. They're really nice and they go down lovely. The only trouble we've had recently is that they've been exploding. Literally, the ends have been popping off and you're leaking the oil, or the wax comes out of it, and they make a huge mess, or you take the top off and they explode. So we have got a few problems with it. Generally though, beautiful stuff. You can literally burnish this stuff in. So if you've got it on a surface, you put it down, then you just work it into the surface and it will give you a total metal finish. Drawback to it is though, it is a wax, so it is really, really messy. So it's not very handleable, it's not very practical if you've got something like a full metal aircraft, because you've got to try and handle it. What it is really good for though is doing small parts. Small little areas, if you just want to hand paint a little bit in, you can just buff it in there and everything else. But I use it, to be honest, on my prop stuff. I've used it on weapons in the past and things like that, because it gives a beautiful sort of finish to it. Sealing it is a bit more of a problem as well, because it's a wax, okay? But it is that thing in its natural state. It is absolutely lovely stuff to work with. So definitely a thumbs up, but a bit messy if I'm honest. Wednesday, Ron, master time, as I've put in my notes. So Wednesday, basically, Ron spent the day round with me and he showed me about everything about this guy, which is actually a die cut mask. So he brought along his computer software, his CAD stuff, and we went through doing the A10. He's got it obviously in the CAD because of the curve of the actual aircraft. It's not just flat. You need to work out the curves. Then did the entire, what we're going to have on here is the hog's face. So it's got the big tusks and the teeth with the nose, the ears, the eyes. We've got it all down there. He's also done all the markings for me as well for it, all the tail codes, things like that. So that is all on here. So we did video it. There was a short little thing, which obviously I did to a little bit of music. I've still got to edit it. As I said, it was like 6 hours of editing. I've got to sort of chew into something. What I'll probably do is, I was hoping to get it done today, but because this show is going to be quite long, I don't think we're going to have time. I will get it done over the weekend and it will be up with you on Monday. And it will be a free to watch section as well. So if you want to see about that one, then please knock yourself out. I'll talk about it all on Monday as well, but I will get it done. But I found it fascinating, absolutely fascinating, because as I say, I haven't actually seen it before, but as soon as you start seeing what it can do, it's limitless. Because then you're thinking, all your masking, all your camo, everything else like that, great. But also you're thinking, well, because it cuts card as well, you know, for doing diorama work, things like that. I'm wondering if it could cut thin plastic card. You know, we're just talking the very thin stuff. I'm sure it could as well. So that, again, makes, you know, you could be making objects with it and everything. So as long as you're a bit of a whiz kid, like our Ron is about CAD and doing all this type of stuff, you'll be absolutely fine. As I said, very steep learning curve, I can imagine. It's not a cheap setup. It's going to be costing you a fair amount of money to get it going. But if you do know someone like Ron, then it's great. So don't forget, if you do have a project or an idea, shoot me a message via the contact me at Flory Models, or what I'll do is I'll put his email below down here as well, so you can get hold of him direct, or I'll pass it on to him and you can have a word. So if you're thinking of a custom type of thing, he's very good at it, I must admit. He's a bit of a whiz at it. But they are here, ready to go on. So I must admit, I'm quite excited about using them. They've turned out absolutely beautiful, because there's no way I could do those tusks. And the decals, to be honest, were pretty horrible. But I will get that one sorted. And then hopefully we'll have that all up with you, as I say, Monday at the latest. I'll get it done over the weekend and we can go from that. Yesterday, bit of a short one for me. Various things on and working, and to be honest, I was reviewing this that went wrong. Anyway, Hans stepped into the breach and has done a fantastic tutorial video on, he's working on the rocket pods for the Su-25. So he talks about obviously re-riveting it, redoing the details for it, as in scribing, how he does his scribing, how he does his riveting. He talks about the tools he was using, and then he goes on about priming, and then obviously going through using Alclad for the different sheens, and weathering with Alclad as well by putting down different shades and then misting, overcoating and stuff like that. Beautiful little tutorials. We know Hans is the calmest guy you'll ever see with modelling. With me, I'm more a case of, yeah, let's get in there. Hans, you take a chill, grab a beer or a coffee, and just sit back and watch him, because he's very good at it, very methodical and everything else. As we know, a bit of a perfectionist, our Hans, but it does pay dividends, because he's done absolutely beautiful work on that one. So that was up yesterday. It will be a standalone as well. It's just that obviously he's going to put it up onto his one, into the actual site to go along with his Su-25 build. They're going to be doing a lot more filming, all of them. Hans is then, you know, he's got the bug for it, managed to get him in after all these years. They're suddenly going for it. So Hans is going to be doing a lot of them. I'm hoping they're going to do a lot of tutorial work as well. Steve, as you're about to see, a load of you messaged me, so when Steve's going to start, he's starting as well. So Steve hopefully will be up to speed next week, and he's going to make his way through, and he's going to start to do some updates and everything else. But speaking of which, here's Steve's weekly update.
Hey up, welcome to Fob Yorkshire. I'm Steve Sutcliffe. This is just a quick video really, just to let you know what I've been up to since I last saw you on the Sunday live show. As many of you know, last weekend Phil and John and Mel and Lynn were up for the weekend. Fantastic weekend, really tiring though. We spent a day in York and also went to the Huddersfield show. It was really good meeting so many of you there, and I love the cakes. I forget your name, which is a big crap of me really, but one of the members brought me and Phil his own Flory tart each, and we demolished them when we got back to mine after the show, so that was very kind of you. Thanks to your wife for making them. But yeah, it was really good to speak to a lot of you. Some of you I've already met before, a lot of new people were coming up and saying hello, so it's probably the best part of the show actually. I didn't spend much money, which is a bit surprising. I only bought one thing, which is something I've been after for a while, and it's the Haddad P47. I got this at an absolute steal. It were only 65 quid. Looking at Hannants, they're over £120. So to get it for that cheap, bargain. Absolutely love the pin-up style. So yeah, really chuffed with that bike. So what I've been up to, I have been doing a bit more work on the Missouri. To be honest, it don't look as though I've done much since I last saw it, but I have. I can show you. As you can see, one of the funnels and all the photo etch and brass parts from the Mark 1 design, I believe it is, upgrade set. Very fiddly. It's hard to get it perfectly straight as well and to get it all go on. You can already see where I've painted the grey bit where all the ladders, they're a bit fiddly to go on as well. Tend to, when you fold them, they kind of self-destruct or the rungs start coming off, so in a lot of places you end up having to put the rungs back on. But I have actually to resort using the 4-wedge that came with a kit here and there because it was that bad. So that's that bit. It's a kind of a larger section which is in 2 parts. So you've got that funnel. Again, a lot of 4-wedge has gone onto that. So you've got that bit. I've also put a lot, which I believe is called the yard arm, something along those lines, and that fits on top of there. Still more to go, but yeah, it's looking really, really good. There's a lot more photo etch still to put on here. Then it needs painting, obviously, and getting all the washers on, a bit of weathering. But the worst thing is got to be putting all the rigging on. It's got to be an absolute nightmare, especially because these pallets are so small, and I don't know how you've got to take when I start putting the rigging on and pulling it slightly tight. I don't want the photo wedge pinging off, so that should be interesting. So that's that bit. Right, and next I've done the main guns. As you can see, I haven't put the brass barrels on yet, but that's all the work that goes into one. Again, all the photo etches from the upgrade set, including that. I don't know how well the camera will pick that up. There's a little anti-aircraft gun on the top there. Again, that's 4 brass barrels, and all the rest of it's all photo etch, which obviously takes a lot of folding, very fiddly, and you know, you're faffing around with little pairs of tweezers. But to be honest, it's worth it. You know, it does take it to the next level. But that's why it's got to take so long yet for me to finish this kit. You know, you won't think, but there's probably 5-6 hours work just gone into that piece alone. So, and then this one's the #1 gun, which is at the front, and that's got the brass barrels on. And actually, it does weigh quite a lot. You'd be surprised how heavy the barrels are. But yeah, it does make all the difference. Better than the turned ones. I wish they'd gone a bit deeper though when they drilled it out, but you can get away with putting a bit of black in there, a bit of black, spot of black paint should add a bit of depth to it. Yeah, it stands out quite well against my t-shirt actually. So there you go. So I do a bit now and again, because obviously when you're adding all this photo wedge, you can start to go a bit loopy. So it's nice to have a break and do other things. Let's just put that. So talking other things, I've been working on my A10. Exactly the same kit that Phil's using. I believe it's the same cockpit set that we're both using, and that's where mine is. The major difference with mine is everything's buttoned up. All the engine covers are buttoned up, and I've got no avionics bays or anything open. I don't intend to. I just want to keep it just the lines. Only obviously I'll have the ladder out, that door open, and I'll have the canopy open, and that's it. I have been adding the Edard exterior photo etch set here and there. It's only a little bit, but photo etch, to be honest, it does. I think it adds to it, and even Phil was saying at the weekend he's thinking of getting it for his, so hopefully he will do. Yeah, I've had quite a few problems, obviously, with the build. Getting the cockpit in were a bit of a challenge. The main thing is also I had trouble with, obviously you have to put a lot of ballast in this to stop it being a tail sitter, and I glued mine in with PVA and it looked clear on top, thought it would dry, started gluing all the halves off, and big chunks of lead shot were coming out everywhere, and you won't believe how much lead shot's on my carpet, and you keep finding big boulders, and I don't know if it's still done. Oh no, they're falling out now. It was rattling like I don't know what. But yeah, we're getting there. Before I can get it to paint, all I've got to do is finished going round, tidying up all the seams. I need to do some rescribing on panel lines, put a few rivets back in. The hardest bit has got to be putting the raised rivets back on. Now, I am going to experiment, see if I can find a way of doing good raised rivets without having to use stuff like arches, transfers. One thing I did think of is we've all been using styrene filler recently, and I'm thinking if maybe we get an old airbrush needle, dip it in the styrene filler, put little specks on here and there, maybe that could create a rivet. So I'm going to try that out, try different methods, and hopefully come up with something. You never know, probably know my luck will fail miserably, but at least I'm going to give it a go. Another thing I did different to what Phil's done, I've used the kit engines, which to be honest they went in there quite well, but they're slightly wrong shape at the front and the engines at the back are awful. Don't know how well that can see it. To get everything nicely lined up, it's used tons of super glue, perfect plastic putty in there, a lot of sanding. I still don't think they're looking that good. It's we'll have to spray them first and then have a look to see what's what, and maybe after that, you know, I don't know, because all I can really do is cover them up with some engine covers, so that I mean covering the fronts up and the rears. So I don't know, might be just a matter of make do and put up with it really. But apart from that, to be honest, it isn't as bad as I thought. I heard horror stories about this kit. And yeah, there's a few fit issues here and there, but nothing that can't be easily overcome. Now, what am I planning on doing? I'm going to go for an all grey camo scheme with this. I'll just show you the decals. And I didn't want to knock that over. Bugger. Oh well. We won't cut it out. We'll leave it in there. So I shall sort that out afterwards. As you can see, disasters happen. You're probably all cringing at that. Ah well. I'm going for the A10, which is the Black Snakes. So it's that. I don't know how well we can see that. It's got a snake mouth right at the front. This is a Caracal decal set. It comes with all stencil dates, so yeah, I'm looking forward to putting them on. Wrong way, that way. Tell I'm an amateur at this, but that's the scheme I'm going for. So what I'll do is, I did intend on doing a full build thread for this, but I'd already started and totally forgot to take pictures. So what I'll do is, I'll go for do video, me applying the paintwork and all the weathering to the A10. That way you can see, obviously I think Phil's doing the camouflage version, so you can see how he does his and how mine differs doing it the all grey scheme. So yeah, I look forward to that. So if I just carefully put this back over here, then wince at all that hard work. Oh, I can't believe I knocked that over. Idiot. At least it's the easier one to repair. Right, so what's next for me? Well, I'm going to be doing a full video build. A lot of people probably over the last couple of years have asked if I'm ever going to do them, and I'm going to bite the bullet. So what do I have in mind? Well, the first up, I'm going to build Hobby Boss's US GMC 750 gallon tanker, but I'm not going to do it military style. I'm going to do it as a post-war American civilian petrol tanker. So I've had Ron Mill on the site. He's done a set of custom masks for it. I'll reveal the scheme once I'm into the build. So it's got to be a civilian paintwork. I've got to have it kind of faded, a bit rusty, heavily worn, as though it's coming to the end of its life. But I just wanted to do something a bit different with it that other people haven't. I think the skin should work and should look really good. So we'll see how it goes. So there you have it. Hopefully I'll start that next week. I'll try and get it done in and amongst doing the A10. I think the A10 needs to come first. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll move on and get the petrol tanker done. So that's been about it really. Nothing else much has happened here. But yeah, like I said, we could meet you all at the show, and if you like this video, let us know. Any feedback, you know, whether harsh or good, just let us know what you think of this video, and hopefully it's the first of many. Catch you all later, guys.
Was I the only one who really cringed when he knocked that off? How many times have we all done it? I'm glad it's literally not just me. And I'm not laughing at him, I'm laughing with him. Because luckily he texted me just after he filmed it and he said, I've knocked the pot over and all the rest of it. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's it. I can imagine, that's it. I'm never going to touch it again. We'd all do it, throw it to the corner. He'd say, no, it's only a little bit of damage. I'll get it back together. Bless him. But yes, as I said, just shows we all make mistakes. He wasn't going to edit it out. I've told him, don't edit anything, just leave it raw. Everyone loves it raw. So there we go. That is Steve. Now, Steve, hopefully, fingers crossed, he's got a new camera, various bits and pieces up there. He's got a microphone that I sent him up there as well. So he's going to be doing a little bit of video work as we make our way through. Disclaimer to both of the guys, though, don't forget, obviously Hans has a full-time job. Steve's sort of full-time as well. So from that point of view, we don't want to put any pressure on them, guys. That's why I've always kept them slightly away. See, don't it myself. Is because obviously I know what the pressure's like. So if we can not bug them for the next part of the video and everything else, because I know how frustrating that is, especially when you want to do it, but you physically haven't got the time to do it, okay? So from that point of view, it can be a little bit more, it turns into a burden instead of a joy, and that's what we like to do with the videos. Everyone enjoys doing it and making their way through it. And don't forget, those guys do a lot of work in the forum as well, so trying to keep everything together and make our way through is the big thing with this one. Last up today, we've actually got this lump. So I know everyone's been waiting for it a while, and I know it's not the best review in the world. I just said, I explained yesterday's in the vlog, one of the cameras failed. My main overhead camera failed, so I had to get one of the 4K ones up there and replace it for that one and reshoot half of it again. Hans did a fantastic review on this that I deliberately didn't read. I haven't been through it. I have now, but I didn't do it at the time, nor have I watched anybody else's, because I wanted to do this kit on its own merits and not what all the naysayers and haters out in the modelling world love to kick a kit even before they've even seen it, touched it or built it. So that's why I've done it as a standalone item on its own merits. Yes, looking back on it, spoiler alert, I can see where the extra 30 quid costs. It's got 30 quid's worth of aftermarket weapons in there that you're probably not going to use with this particular kit. But it gives you the option, and that's what I say in the review for this one. The actual fallback itself is no different from the flanker over there, which is a third cheaper. But the thing is, you've got so many weapons for your aftermarket box, and to obviously fit to this particular jet if you wanted to, the pile of sprues is bigger than the kit. So that is why it's in a giant box and it costs 110 quid. Now, I know there's going to be a big thing next week because costs are going up generally in the hobbying world. We've all heard that Tamiya are putting the price up by 25%. We've heard the rumours that other manufacturers are putting their prices up. You know, it is. And this kit suddenly was 110 quid versus everybody else's was sort of 70 quid. So, you know, you can see things going up, but in some ways, all those people are saying, I can't understand why. A good example is they haven't seen the kit. I've seen the kit now, and when you look at it, and I show you in the review, I get the pile of the kit bits for making the aircraft, and then I show you exactly the same with the actual, basically the stuff you're not really going to use, the weapons fit and everything else. They are massive big piles and identical size. So from a plastic point of view and your money and where it all is, that's what the problem is. But, and here's the big but to this, if you haven't got the weapons, you're going to have to go out and buy them. So would you rather have it in the kit and then you've got it all there for forever, or would you rather just have it a little bit like the Hasegawa ones do, where you don't get the weapons fit for it? Let's face it, we all remember Tamiya when they did obviously their new F-14 Tomcat, the A, the new taught one. The thing was, when it was originally released, it wasn't going to come with weapons, and everyone was like, it's got no weapons in it, what a load of crap, you'd think for the money it gets weapons. Tamiya were listening and suddenly, right, we'll do a weapons fit for it and put a weapons fit with it. Well, they've done it, but because you need all the different weapons fit for it, that's the trouble. So you've ended up with a huge amount of plastic, which is going to cost money. So that is why it's in a giant box. That's why it's expensive. To me, it makes perfect sense. I can see where the money's gone with this one. But the question is, to obviously you guys as modelers, and to, you know, obviously people who want to buy it, do you want it all in there? Or do you want to buy separate weapon sets? Have you already got a load in your actual box and everything else? And like I say during the review, it's great, to be honest, like probably if you're like me, I've got most of those weapons anyway from all the other Trumpeter and Hobby Boss kits I've ever built. But, sod's law, it'll be the one you haven't got. And you want to put that particular one on there, then you've got to go out. Let's just assume you just wanted a couple of missiles. That'll come in a weapon set, probably be 30 quid anyway. So in some ways, I can understand what they were trying to do. They built a strike aircraft with all the weapons fit it could possibly carry to basically give you all the options you could ever need. It's a one box stop kit. Okay, the nose does look a little bit wrong, if I'm honest. Something just doesn't sit right, but I'm not going to get my calipers out and start measuring it and taking scale drawings and all the rest of it. It does look to be a bit flat. It looks a bit duck-like where this doesn't. But it's one of those things, I can't say what's exactly wrong with it. I know you guys have had silhouettes out and all the rest of it, but let's face it, it'd be a straightforward fix. If somebody does do a replacement plug-in for it, they're just going to cut it here and plug it in. So it's going to be a nice easy fix if you wanted to do it. But generally, I can understand why. You know, that's the point to it. Everyone was like, I don't know why. Well, I can. Have a look inside the box. It's rammed full of plastic. It's going to cost a lot of money to produce it. Right, there we go. That is about it for today. As I say, busy old week, and as I say, Hans has been really busy as well. So because Hans has done his sort of music as well, he's done a little bit of an update of one of the tanks he's been working on at the moment, one of the Panzers, and it's a lovely bit of work, and you can sit back, relax, some nice music to it, and see exactly what he's been doing this week. So I'm going to leave you with his great work. So that's it from me. Busy old week. Next week, everything changes. I'm going to explain it all to you actually on Monday. We're going to have a giant update. Don't panic about the medals, everybody. To be honest, I've got 2 boxes out in the kitchen, sat on the kitchen table, full of all your medals. I will make an announcement this afternoon. You guys can get in touch with me. We'll get those sorted out and we'll get them all out to you next week. Because as I say, the first of the big changes to Flory models happens on Monday. I'll explain it all then. Till then, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.
So here we are, working the wheels. If you're working on German World War II Panzers, you can't like wheels. So here's a bunch of wheels that we're going to assemble, and we'll just get through it and get rolling.